Hey guys, today I'm going to talk to you about 5 things that I hate about the Mark II. What's up guys, it's your boy JC, Broke Boys Club, and if you love cars but you don't have a lot of money, this is the channel for you. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about 5 things that I hate about the Mark II, starting with number 5, and that's the short fifth gear. As you can see right now, at highway speed, that's 120 kilometers per hour, similar to 75 miles per hour for you guys in the States. I'm at about, I'm running between 3,500 and 4,000 RPM, and it's a little bit higher than what I'm used to. I feel like let's say we were to do a road trip, it would kind of worry me a little bit. Just seeing, let's say if I were to go on a 9-hour road trip, I don't know how the engine would like being revved that far up for, let's say, 2 hours in a row. So that kind of worries me. I feel like being pretty high up there in the RPMs for a long period of time might stress the transmission in the motor a little bit. So yeah, I hear that there's fixes for it. You can put a TDI fifth gear in there, and that would drop the RPMs by about 1,000. So maybe look into that. But right now, there's two sides to it. Some people say it's fine. Some people say that that's cause for concern. And the people who say it's fine are usually the guys who own the same motor and trans, and they say they call it the 9A Screamer trans. And so yeah, that's just one of those things that I wouldn't really say I hate it, but it would worry me, and I'd love to do road trips in this car to say like H2OI or Mark II Mayday, but just having a short fifth gear like that for highway speeds kind of worries me a little bit. So if you have thoughts on that, and for sure that I would be fine, constant revs at 4K for hours on end, and you think it's fine in a 9A engine and trans, then be sure to let me know. See, that's in fifth gear. Alright, number 4 reason would be just the difficulty to find parts. And I kind of understand, it's not as common as like a Civic or an Integra or even a Miata of the same year, and so it's just more of a rant thing where like it's not that easy to find parts for this thing. Let's just say comparing the crowd that modifies Civics and Integras and Miatas compared to this thing, I mean, not a lot of people choose the Mark II to build, and so not a lot of aftermarket companies want to really make products for this thing, because it's a losing battle, right? And so finding aftermarket parts for this thing, you don't really have as much options as the other platforms. An example, it's not an aftermarket part, but an example for a part that I've a hard time looking for is the sunroof seal, and currently my sunroof actually leaks. It's something that I have to get to eventually, but I've been putting it off because people want upwards of $200 Canadian shipped for a piece of rubber. I mean, that's ridiculous. So I mean, I don't have a choice. Eventually I'm gonna have to just do some research on an afternoon and then find a vendor that could sell it to me cheap. I think so far right now eBay is the cheapest place that I could get it. But anyways, that's reason number 4, just the difficulty of finding parts for this thing. Number 3 is the lack of AC, and it's not so much of a bother now since it's fall. It's kind of cool, but in the summer, and it's not about me, it's more about for my wife. She doesn't mind the Mark II at all, but she'd love for it to have AC, because when you're stuck and it's a hot day out and there's traffic, and even with the windows down and the built-in fan, it's not enough to really refresh you in the hot summer days. So I used to have a Miata, and I deleted AC and power steering on that as well, and I didn't mind it as much in the summer because obviously it has a soft top, so I just roll my windows down and bring the soft top down, and it was enough to really cool me on summer days. But as for this car, for me, it's not the end of the world, because I could just roll my windows down or, you know, open the sunroof. But I mean, happy wife, happy life, right? And I guess, you know, in the summer, I wish this thing had AC, but it's not really that big of a concern. So that's number 3. So as you can see, the car does have rust in some places, like there. Of course, the notorious battery tray. Underneath that battery is some rust there that we'll have to address at some point, as well as the shroud for the radiator fan. It's pretty rusty. Maybe I'll do that over the winter and, you know, get rid of that rust and paint over it, as well as places like underneath the airbox. I don't know if you could see, but there's some rust there, and close to the strut tower there's a hole. So I mean, there's some work to be done in the bay, the worst part, which is under the car. It makes me nervous the most. Alright, number 1 on the list is this makeshift V-belt system. So with the AC and the power steering deleted, we kind of use this V-belt system, and it's kind of just picked a V-belt from the hardware store that kind of fits, and tighten the alternator as best as we can. And it's not the most reliable setup in the world. As you see, it over time the belt wears out and it loosens, and the only real fix for this with a serpentine belt system. And I'm sure we have all the parts, it's just buried somewhere. But I think what we're gonna end up doing is we're just gonna keep on buying these spare V-belts, keep one in the garage, keep one in the car just in case it decides to snap off while we're on the road. And we're just gonna keep on using this system until the engine decides to finally shit itself, or when we decide to just completely swap the engine to a more modern option, whether it's 1.8T, VR6, or the ALH. That's coming soon, so you'll have to subscribe to find out which engine this car will ultimately end up with. Here it is now with the belt all replaced. It's all tight now. All you really have to do is unloosen this alternator bolt all the way to drop the alternator to fit the custom belt in. And for those of you wondering, the belt I used is A43 4L450 V-belt that you can just get at any hardware store. So yeah. Actually, I had a really hard time coming up with 5 things, because with this car it's so easy to just get used to things and live with the imperfections. And so, alright guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Follow us on Instagram if you haven't already. And as always, take care, God bless, and fake it till you make it. Peace.